All right, now this is Eminem's newest album, Revival. Now, for all of you who's playing themselves and don't know who Eminem is, allow me to give you some background story. Now, Eminem is, of course, the hip hop Elvis and one of the first white rappers since the Beastie Boys come out to truly gain some respect in the rap game. Of course, he met up with Dr. Dre and have rising stars like 50 Cent and somewhat stars like Yellow Wolf burst into the scene thanks to him and his signing or co-signing of them as superstars. He had a side group called D12, which had like a popular album or two. And he rose to controversy with his controversial lyrics about women, gay people, the government, politics, all kinds of shit. He went into a slump when he decided to be addicted to drugs for a few years, causing writer's block for these past years. And of course, he returns back from his album Marshall Mathers 2, which was a callback to Marshall Mathers 1, one of the most popular and critically acclaimed hip hop albums ever. Of course, Eminem, he is one of the highest lyrical geniuses that ever come out in music today. And he is highly respected around all areas of hip hop. Of course, it may have helped them or hindered him that he was a white rapper. Many times he referenced how people would not really doubt him or people would really doubt him or give him high acclaim because he was a white rapper who stirred up controversy like no one have ever done before. Of course, this is his new album, Revival, which goes with the whole R theme, like kind of like recovery, revival, relapse. There's just a open policy of themes with drugs that comes into his albums. Now let's get into it. Now let's talk about the first track, which is Walk on Water. Now, you don't know how influential this track is to the whole album. The first voice you hear on the album is Beyonce, which is kind of shocking until you realize that when it comes to other songs throughout this whole album, like Tragic Ending, which the whole idea of being drunk on something like drunk, a metaphorical drunkenness on something comes from Beyonce's Drunken Love. Like Tragic Endings sound like they decided, hey, we just listened to Beyonce's Drunken Love, so we're gonna just gonna make another reference like I'm drunk on Tragic Ending, blah blah blah. And the song Castle may have be a reference to like Sandcastle because Beyonce had that song Sandcastle on her last album. Yeah. Another big influence of this album is, of course, Trump, Donald Trump. On the song Like Home, featuring Alicia Keys, he talks ad nauseum about Trump, how he had the transgender ban and how he supported him on Slim Shady's national convention. Eminem actually supported Donald Trump for president once. That's pretty odd. Now he's dissing him, but he of course referenced that on the song Like Home, which was pretty nice. But what was not nice was the reference on the song Offended, where he says he agreed with Trump on the whole idea of grabbing women by the pussy. Really, man? Really? I guess that plays with the whole idea of being offended, but it's not a new concept of being offended of what Slim Shady says on his album. So, hey. Also on the song Offended, he referenced having a full bladder like R. Kelly. Holy shit. That's pretty cringeworthy. It's not offensive. It's just cringeworthy to me. But don't worry, when he's not referencing piss, he's referencing shit, like he did on the song Remind Me. I don't know how many shit references that he has on Remind Me, but it's pretty fucking disgusting. He referenced how her booty, he referenced like a term for diarrhea and shit. I mean, it's just gets a little bit disgusting at this point. If you listen to the song Remind Me, and the song Remind Me, ironically, reminds me of a lot of songs. Like the little sample kind of reminds me on the way they resampled the song for Berserk. Actually, come to think about it, I think the song I Love Rock and Roll kind of sounds like Berserk a little bit, or the way they sampled it when it comes to like a matter of fact to me. Oh, yes, and he also, on the song Remind Me, said that fake tits are better than real one. Really, man? Wasn't you, like, on the song, I forgot what's called, The Real Slim Shady, actually teasing, like, a celebrity for having fake tits or whatever? Like, really? Now, when it comes to lyrics on the first half of the album, it's a little iffy. He does this line where he says that something about wind chimes. That was fucking garbage. But he also does this line about, he says you're always stuck to the pad, and he says that you're written up like a piece of paper on one of the tracks. Actually, the track with Fresher, he actually does a lot of references to like pen and pad. Some of them are good, some of them are bad, but that's what I was talking about. Like, and speaking of pen and pad, there's actually like a lot of sounds when it comes to writing. Like when it comes to Walk on Water, you can hear him writing. And when it comes to a song like Castle, you can actually hear him writing to his daughter. So there's a lot of references to writing. Too bad the bars doesn't seem like it on this album. And I haven't mentioned Untouchable, but he did this reference to Untouchable to Native Americans that I thought was cool until on the Fresher track when he said that he will scalp you like an Indian tribe. Wow, that's pretty fucked up. That's actually a stereotype. Damn. I mean, two references to Native Americans on back-to-back tracks seems a little odd, especially when the song with Fresher, you actually reference them scalping a person. That's trash, man. That's pretty evil. Now, when it comes to a song like Untouchable, I originally liked the album until I hear the other songs on in context. Like on the song Believer, he says he drops the loser victimhood mentality, but you kind of have it on a song like Untouchable. And on the song Framed, you kind of have a song where you do like a he didn't do nothing vibe. Like, you ever seen the meme, He Didn't Do Nothing? That's the song Frame in its entirety. He have him doing crimes, and instead of just manning up and saying he did the crimes, he just says that he was framed in this echo voice kind of annoying performance where he has this voice echo on his voice that's pretty damn annoying, if I didn't say that. And when it comes to the production of this whole album, it takes minimal too far. Actually, on a song like Nowhere to Go, he actually opens the song up saying that he's sorry for the beats. Yes, you should be sorry. Good. And another thing, when it comes to the track setup, why would you have a song like Remind Me, which kind of reminds me of the song Superhero, but it's only 26 seconds. And then you have the song Revival, which sounds like the singer was like puffing on helium, the way their voice was so damn high, like that, which kind of reminds me of like a chorus choir, the way some of them like hit those high pitches, which leads me to the song Believer and how, I think it's clever because they use the term revival. Like the term revival could also mean like a church revival, which adds up to the song Believer because the believers would have a church revival. And I know I haven't mentioned this song yet, but the song River, absolutely excellent. Ed Sheeran does his thing on this track. It's one of the best tracks on the album. I was pretty surprised. Now, people slam Eminem for having pop vocalists on this album, but when it's not pop vocalists on this album, Eminem does this like DIY thing where he does the hooks for himself, like the Fresher track. Fresher didn't even rhyme on this track. He just does this whole thing where he just does the hook and whatever, which was pretty garbage. And everybody, like most people, dislike the whole chunky hook on Untouchable. Pretty damn garbage. The song Believer hook, pretty damn garbage. I mean, just when he doesn't have pop vocalists on here, he does this like DIY thing and it sounds like garbage. Except for the song Bad Husband, Ex Ambassador sounds like they're like, I don't know what to call it, like meditating monks. They sound like they're meditating monks doing a hymn or whatever. Like, I don't know if that's going to keep up with the idea of like the whole church idea or whatever, but it's still freaking garbage, man, if you ask me. And on songs like River and like the last two tracks, Eminem does his little thing where he's like pro-life Eminem. On the song River, the second verse he talks about impregnating the girl, and on the third verse he talks about how he talked to the girl. He told the girl to abort his child. But on the last two tracks, Castle, he talks about how he had his daughter Haley and how he written a note like pre Haley's birth, post Haley's birth, and 10 years after Haley was born. And in these notes, it talks about how he overdosed on drugs. And on the song Arose, he overdosed on drugs, but then he rewinds his life, which kind of reminds me of Kendrick Lamar's Damn, the way he rewinds it, except he has a more cohesive, like not open to interpretation rewind of his whole life. And then he throws the drugs in the toilet, and then that's the end of the album. And I think that that's an awesome way to end the album. Too bad the other tracks were shit, like the song In Your Head, the song Need Me, and let's see, the song Nowhere Fast. I mean, and also the song Terrible Ending. These songs sound like Feminem. Like Feminem. Remember how people used to call him Feminem? These songs sound like the feminist tracks, like girl power shit. I mean, on the song that features Pink, Pink takes up the whole half of the album. She does the hook, she does some of the verses, and I'm like, where's Eminem? Where's Eminem at? Like, shit. Come on, you telling me this? And the songs In Your Head and also the song Heat, I don't like these samples. Like, he samples Marky Mark, which is kind of good because he used to have a beef with Marky Mark, but now he's a actor or whatever. And hey, but yeah, I'm gonna try to wrap this like review up. I just want to point out one more thing. On the song Tragic Ending, he talks about a girl like cracking eggs and putting it on the floor. He's acting like eggshells are like glass, and if you step on them, it will make some harm or whatever. I mean, that's a strange thing to do, fucking odd a little bit, but that's not going to cause any harm to you, probably going to make a mess. But overall, this album is overbloated, unfocused, except for the end, and at some points dull. He has some good lines, like on the song River, he says, despite her man, and then he referenced like a Spider-Man Peter Parker thing. That whole reference was flames. And on the song Like Home, he makes a reference to you Adolf Hitler. Like that was a pretty good, awesome line. But other than that, he makes other references which suck. And this album overall is unfocused, overbloated, and Eminem should really retire at this point. I'm going to give this album a 5. I'm sorry, I'm a fan of Eminem, but not a groupie. Please like, subscribe, share this video, and if you disagree with me, post your opinions in the comment. I'm out.